Hi everyone, it's Clyde at Vibrant Soap, and if you look back a couple of videos, I did a soap called Lake Winnepesaukee, and it was a custom order, and the person that ordered that from me sent me a picture of Lake Winnepesaukee, which is a big lake in New Hampshire. I think it's one of their biggest lakes there, and he asked if I could make a picture soap from the photograph that he sent to me. And I thought about it, I was kind of nervous about this, but the more I thought about it, I planned this out. I thought, I can do this. And I was really happy with the way it turned out. Well, now I have this fragrance called Seagrass and Sand Dunes, and I'm thinking I want to make another picture soap. But here's the problem. I want the bottom portion to start setting up, and I have to keep the batter aside so that I can pour on top of that. But the top portion I want to be liquid enough to do some drop swirls. So usually the longer the batter sits aside, the more it starts to solidify. So what I'm going to do is make two separate soap batters. I'm going to make a little bit for the sand portion, the bed of the ocean, and then I'm going to make another batch so it can be new and liquidy enough for me to pour and do my drop swirls. So I'm a little bit nervous about doing that because I don't usually have two sets of lye and two sets of oils laying out, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. There's a lot of different colors involved here. There's some soap graffiti, there's some in the pot swirls, and then there's drop swirls with different colors. So I'm going to combine all those in the soap, and I'm going to see how I do with that. So let's get started right away. Be a good time to show you how I mix up my micas. And I've got so many micas going on here that, and some of them will look similar, so I'm going to make sure I mark them. This is Hello Spring. This is Alpine Mica. So these will be a good contrast together because one's a really bright light green. This one's a really light mauve. Magic. I'll just call this one Magic. Sea green. Emerald green. Gold dust. And iris purple. I have this really skinny spoon that comes in handy, especially with these little containers of mica from Nurture Soap, because the spoon goes all the way inside there. Regular spoon won't fit. Okay, so get that in there. This was my way of measuring too, so that's about this is in this case a little less than a teaspoon. My Alpine. I'll speed you up to this part too and bring you back when I add my batch oils. Okay, so all my colors are labeled and the dry micas are in the cups. And I'm just going to use, since I only use a little bit of mica, I only need about maybe a half tablespoon of batch oil. And I do make sure I mix my oils so that each color has all the oils in it. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out to use these little cups to make smaller portions of color, because when I was not using them and wanted a little bit of color but had a bigger container, my mind would always say fill up that container, and I didn't get the small amounts that I really wanted. But this works out perfect. So much of soaping takes place just in a split second, it seems. Once you get started, So there's so much to think about that if the colors are in smaller containers, that's one less thing to think about which colors are going to be smaller portions, things like that. I pre-mix it like this because it means that I don't have to work so hard mixing it when I get the soap batter in there. Okay, so there's that. Okay, I think I'm ready with all my stuff. I'm going to do this in 2 different parts, just because I want the bottom to solidify a bit and I want the top to be really liquid. So the only way I could really think of splitting this was to completely split it. So I just need a small amount. So here's my lye and my oil. Okay, I'm going to do this again for the top portion, so I'll speed through that part. Okay, so let's blend this. I don't mind getting it a little more thick, but I don't want any bubbles in it. Get my fragrance in there. This is the seagrass and sand dunes from Rustic Escentuals. It's a little unusual. I've used it before. It's sweet, like you would think for a sweet grass, and it kind of reminds me of watercress, which I know sounds strange, but it's I like the smell of it. Okay, just a little blend there, and I've got a lot of confetti. So I'm going to blend it up so I can get it a little more fine. And I want 2 different colors of that. I'm going to start with my darker one. Doesn't look very nice right now. I think I'll blend this a little more. So I want basically a sand color on the reddish side because I want it to really have a nice contrast against the blue upper portion. Okay, that part's ready to pour already, and I will definitely want to remember to get my darker one in there first. I know the confetti doesn't really show up right now, but it shows up during the cut. And I kind of want to shape this a little bit. Make sure that it's all tucked in there first. Little mounds of sand on the bottom. And I'll carefully get this lighter color on top. You saw me use this technique and the picture soap that I made. I'll put that back in the links at the end of the video. I adjusted my recipe for this soap to allow for the confetti and to allow for, you know, these two separate batches that I made. Because I don't want it particularly too tall. I'll use a spoon. And I want to make sure the sides are pretty clean too. Okay, and I'm going to shape the top of these too. And I do have some gold mica ready, so I can actually do a little mica line there. Just a really light one. And I'll set this aside while I work on the other part and clean some stuff up first. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I think the temperatures are all right and ready for me to go. So let me get my lye in there. Okay, so I'm going to blend up my oils and clay as I usually do. So I'm going to speed up through this part. You don't need to see it twice in one video. So I don't remember if this accelerates, so I'm going to add the fragrance as I go. Okay, I want to swirl in the white. Get that poured in here. Okay, let's hope these stay liquid enough for me to pour. pour from up high. Get that poured in there. Well, who knows how this is going to turn out this time. There's some purple, some gold. Get that poured. This is my last of my purple. So now here's some more gold. Get that close to the top. And I do have a little bit more white. With all these varying amounts of setting up, it's going to be an interesting soap. Okay, so I think it does need a little bit of a spoon texturing. It's just too wet though. Let's come back to that later. Otherwise it'll be an interesting top, that's for sure. If I don't get to change it at all, this will be the end, and then we'll come back for the cut. Okay, let's see how this went. I don't mind telling you that during the filming, the camera went out and I had to take care of that. So part of the batter was just merrily going along saponifying while I was tending to my camera. So we'll see what happens. What happened was the bottom part solidified, so I couldn't get my drop swirls as deep in there as I wanted, but I think it'll turn out. Just I have no idea how it'll turn out. So I really wanted drop swirls to go deep into the soap. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, maybe seagrass floats on top. So that's what I'm going to believe. And there's the sandy bottom. So a little bit of that drop swirl that went in. And some of that went in a little deeper. In any case, I really like how it turned out. And I'll try again someday with my original idea. Kind of fun. Yeah, everything else turned out fine. I can live with that. I really like the little confetti on the bottom. Mostly pastels. Well, good. The drop swirls went in more than I thought. When I saw the blue part setting up, I decided that I'd hold my containers pouring the drop swirls a little further up so that there was more momentum to get them deeper into the soap, and that one turned out great. A little bit of purple up there. I think it's pretty fun. A lot about this really behaved itself. I like that one. It's like seagrass. In any case, I think it gives the idea of a seascape. Thanks for watching, everyone. Been trying to come up with something new, not just for me, but for you, since I'm trying to do a soap video every week. Don't want to see the same thing every week. And so the store is open. Thanks for ordering, those people that did. And thanks for everyone that comments. I really appreciate that too. And we'll see you soon for another video as the helicopter goes by. See you next time. Bye, everyone.